right, so I'm here with you today, guys, and we are going to be creating a sculpture. Now, I'm going to be showing how you can make a rock sculpture. These I was first inspired by when I went up to Grand Marais, Minnesota a while back, and I saw these cool rock sculptures that people would balance, and so I thought, oh, it'd be pretty fun to collect some rocks, so I collected rocks there, came home, and made some sculptures. So a few reminders, you can create anything for your sculpture, right? You could cut paper scraps and roll up and glue and tape the paper and make like a roller coaster paper city. You could do a rock sculpture like me, okay? You could just find rocks outside. The older friends that have done Andy Goldsworthy sculptures before could be inspired by those. And even the younger friends, once you've looked at our Google slide, you could always do that as well, where you gather materials outside and create your sculptures. Now, these ones I am going to glue together so they stay, otherwise it'd be a little tricky. All right, but the one thing I want to talk about too is three-dimensional versus two-dimensional. So 3D is something that I can see and measure all sides of it. So height, width, and depth. So I'm going to pull out something here. Okay. I've got a two-dimensional and a three-dimensional version of my rock sculpture. Okay, so this one is 3D because I can actually, like, it's in the round. It's a sculpture. I can see all sides of it, and I can measure height, width, but then there's a third one. That's why it's called 3D. And depth, how far back it goes into space. And I mean, this is clearly not in outer space, right? There's no aliens, not that I know of, hiding out in my rock. But I mean the space in which we move and live in. And that is how you measure 3D things. It has three things: height, width, and depth. Okay? Now my paper drawing, even though it has the illusion of being three-dimensional, it's still flat. It's still a flat piece of paper. And so I can only measure height and width. I could pretend to measure the depth, but it's not there. Artists can be masters of illusion, which is pretty cool. So let's get started on this rock thing. Remember, you guys can create sculptures of anything. I even found, like, in a board game, I found some blocks I could make sculptures with. You could use Legos, you know, kind of let your mind go. You can make a fort, right? Okay, so out of blankets, pillows, kind of let your imagination go wild here. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I'll show you what I've used. This glue all. Sometimes, let's do a test here on a sticky note. Sometimes the glue will have a little glue booger. Ew. Ah, it doesn't. Check that out. I must have wiped it out before it's good. It's good glue. Okay, so now I'm going to see how these babies balance. And I did get this to balance earlier. Yeah. Perfect. So I really like those two together. I like this kind of smooth surface of this rock. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue. I don't want to go overboard. It will dry clear, but can look kind of funny. So then I'm going to hold it down because the glue has to set. This is just glue all. I'm not using anything too fancy, but it does take a little bit to set. All right. So I'm kind of holding it down so it can set. It might take a while. Come on. And I probably won't mess with it for a while, even after I put the rest of these on, because it's going to take a while before I can move it and hold it and touch it like this. And even if I like messed with it, it could break. Okay, I had a family member break one because I messed with it. So, and that's okay. That's going to happen because sculptures are, you know, they invite someone to touch, and so, but you have to remind people that it's still fragile. Okay. And I kind of liked this light one to go next for contrast. And let me just see. Yeah. There we go. Balancing away here. Balancing away. Okay, I have my little glue glob. Now this one's going to be a lot smaller than the other one because I kind of ran out of bigger rocks. So there we go. Like it. I'm trying to decide, maybe this needs to come, if I can get it to balance that way, which I can. Perfect. And I want this to come just up a little bit. So sometimes you're just kind of messing with the material, seeing if it works with your vision that you want. And so then next, this one's kind of fun because it's like a little heart-shaped rock. Or do I want? Ooh, yeah, let's do this. So change my mind. Sometimes that happens. A little bit of this there. Go like, ah! You might get gluified. Okay. Now I might need to wait for this to sit now. Okay, I do. I tried to put too much on at once. So I'm gonna let this harden, then I'll be back. All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, guys, so now we're back. Ready to roll here. And so I really thought that this little kind of heart-shaped rock I found up north is gonna look, if I can get it to balance, is gonna look cool there. Put an agate on top of that. But first, let's glue this baby down. So here we go. A little drop of glue. So this does take time and patience. I probably waited like an hour before I came back. And I had a few failed attempts because I didn't want to wait that long. So take it from me, wait a little bit. All right, I like that. And then I'm gonna use the just a little bit on the agate, and it's gonna kind of go right. I want it to come up just a little bit, kind of like that. And so, actually, I want it to change. Let's see if we can get it to go this way. So it's a little finicky. Rock sculptures are. A lot of balance. But we take our time with it, and then it'll work. Eventually. Okay, I like that, kind of how it's off to the side there. I'm just gonna make sure I like it from a sideways view. Might push it back. I don't want it to fall back like that. Alright, there we go. Then I have I like that. Okay, I'll show it to you sideways in a few minutes. Well, actually more. I'll have to wait another like half an hour for it to dry. Alright, we'll talk to you later. Alright guys, so here is the finished rock sculpture. Can't wait to see your awesome art.